everyone. It's Reverend Dr. Katie. I hope you're doing really great. It's been just a crazy kind of few weeks in the world in this year of 2020. So I am coming to you today to bring you some kind of energetic awareness. This was actually inspired from a post by one of our group members. If you're not a member of the Metaphysical Christian, if you're watching this on another platform, we'd love to have you over in our group on Facebook. And I want to talk to you today about kind of the dangers of overhelping. And this feels really strange to a lot of Christians, especially if you're a woman, because we are super socialized to help, 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 and to always put other people's needs before us. And there's some value to helping others. Of course, I would never suggest that we not be helpful, but I want to suggest that we get in line energetically so that we can be a help and of service to the world smartly. And that's really important because we want to utilize our time and our energy to the very, very highest level that we possibly can. And one thing I see a lot of people doing, so if this feels like you or maybe has in your past, let me know, is they are helping absolutely everyone, and y'all, your kids, your spouse, your grandkids are included in this list. They are trying to help absolutely every single person on earth, but not putting any attention on their own inner journey. They're not putting any value on their own soul journey, on their own spiritual development. And so helping everyone else, and this goes from being on the phone with someone to baking cookies to putting aside time and energy from your own self-development in order to put into others. All of that is a way for us to sometimes avoid doing our own inner work. So this is especially true if you do find your schedule filled to the brim and you're not on it. So I want to repeat that. If your schedule is filled to the brim and you are not on your own schedule, that might mean that you are branching off so much in an act of love. It's coming from a place of deep love. I know that, and a place of service, but then you're actually not being attentive to your own needs. And I see this just all the time. And so it's something that I wanted to address here. And this even comes from one expression of this, I should say, is maybe like hanging on to relationships that are no longer working, hanging on to old ways of trying to engage that no longer work for you. This is all a form of energy. Everything that we do is a form of energy. And as Christians, I think one of the best things we can actually do for ourselves and for the world is to use our energy at the highest possible vibration, at the highest possible level, so that we're being really smart about it, so that we're actually being really efficient with it. And I know that sounds really funny, but I think it's actually a grace-filled thing to do for ourselves. So when we can fine tune our own energy, when we can fine tune our own vibration, we're actually serving ourselves and everyone else at a higher level. At we're really raising the bar, right? We're coming up here. And that means that sometimes we have to tell other people no. That's also a form of energy. I gotta say, once you do it, it's really empowering. It's really empowering. It's really hard to do the first time, but it's really empowering to do that. And when we do that, we shift our own energy because we're actually placing ourselves as a primary person in our own lives. And so that's what this is all about. When we can put ourselves, when you can put yourself, your own soul, your own spirit, as a primary recipient of your attention, that's when energy starts to shift. That's when you are able to open up into your gifts. So sometimes if we're asking the same question day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, even decade after decade, with no movement, but we're doing a bunch of stuff for everyone else, that's kind of a signal that it's maybe time to pause, to take the inward journey, to take the leap, to discover whatever it is that God is calling us into. And this means that you need space and time to do that. I don't mean hours and hours every single day. I don't mean that you need month-long retreats, but you need that energetic space and time where you say yes to yourself, where you say yes to your own journey. And it's when you give yourself that energetic space that you are able to live into your own gifts and then therefore serve others, serve yourself, serve the world at the highest level. And you can do this when you can clearly articulate your own gifts and how you want to use them in the world. That way, you're not kind of taking a stab. Is my role to bake cookies for others? Is my role to drop all the kids off and do a neighborhood carpool? Is my role to give a lot of money to my grandchildren? Or is my role to do this for myself, to figure out my own path, to figure out my own gifts so that I can serve using those? And when you can serve using your own gifts, once you determine what those are, then you'll know exactly where you're called to serve and where you're not. And if you're filling in a gap that someone else should be doing, you might be prohibiting them from using their gifts at the highest level. I had this experience once in a church that I was working in. When I departed the church, we departed very well. It was just time. It was the right time for me to move on. We were a little worried about some of the things that I had been doing in the church no one else was doing. 2 weeks after I left, I ran into my former boss, and I was like, how's everything going? Are people doing the children's sermon? Are they doing the things that we were worried about? He was like, oh my gosh, all these people have rushed to volunteer and to fill in. They weren't doing them because I was, and as soon as I left, they had a chance for their gifts to flourish. So how amazing is that? When I step into my own most authentic truth, when I put attention on my own spiritual journey, I actually open up space for everyone else to not fall into, but to grow into the fullest expression of their gifts. Y'all, this includes your spouse, it includes children, it includes your neighbors, it includes every single person that you encounter when you're living into your deepest, fullest truth as a Jesus follower. As a Christian, you're enabling other people to do that too. So that's why it's actually a really good grace-filled thing to put yourself at the center of your own spiritual development. So if there's some of you who have been meaning to do this, getting around to it, the time is now. Because now is when you're watching this video. So I encourage you to write into the comment space and declare to yourself that you are putting yourself first in your spiritual development and in your spiritual journey. And that this is a grace and God-filled thing to do. I hope this is helpful because I know we have so many great doers in here. We have so many people who are out there in service in the world, and I honor the service that you have. I honor the gifts that you give. Those of you who are ready to kind of up-level, to take this to a higher level, to serve at a higher vibration, be in touch. We have some opportunities coming up around that. So if that does feel like you, I'd just love to talk, see if those resonate. Whatever you do, serve at the highest level that you can by putting full attention and on yourself, because you are actually worthy of that. So if you have any questions, just private message me. I would love to see comments in the comment box, and I will talk to everyone really soon.